It's through the charts, and today we're returning to the question of whether a major stock market sell-off could be ahead with our friend Dennis Gartman, who is the editor of the Gartman Letter. And Dennis, thanks so much for taking the time to join us. And the last time we chatted, we talked about your call for the possibility of a major stock market sell-off. And since then, you have published what you are calling the most important chart of the year. So allow me to share this with our viewers first, and you can see this in the Bloomberg using the GTV function. And what we're looking at here is a long-term chart. On bottom, we have the S&P 500 right now near those all-time highs. On top, we have the S&P 500 dividend yield in white and the 2-year yield in blue. And you can see that for the most part, there's a pretty decent space between them, with bonds yielding more than the S&P 500's dividend yield. But we last saw a cross back in 2004 and then 2008. Of course, that was around a time of tremendous market volatility. And Dennis, the point you're making is that right now we do have the 2-year yield going back above that dividend yield. Perhaps there is a regime shift. So can you give us some more context? And does this mean that the end of the big bull market is over?
I think that it really does mean that the end of the big bull market is over. As that cross occurred back in late 2008 in anticipation of the bull market that began, and I think that was one of the reasons. Over the course of the past several years, you've heard people say, Tina, there is no alternative. People had to turn to stocks. Now, however, the 2-year yield has gone above the dividend yield on the S&P 500. Now there is an alternative, and I think that that's one of the primary reasons why we have entered what I think is a primary bear market. Listening to Lacey Hunt just a few minutes ago talking about the decline of the monetary base, which is one of the few aggregates that I really pay attention to, is exactly the same reason that I'm concerned about the stock market. From 2008 until basically last September and October, the adjusted monetary base was increasing. Now the Fed is allowing those securities to roll off. It is no longer sponsoring declining interest rates. It is now sponsoring rising interest rates. And I think that's going to give rise to lower stock prices over the long term. So I may be bullish in the short term for a couple of days just because we got terribly oversold. But strength is to be sold into, weakness is not to be bought.
So a repricing of risk.
So there you go, guys. This guy here is on Bloomberg trying to predict a downturn in the stock market, which would be very interesting because obviously we've had like 6 years of crazy growth, even more. I mean, the recession was 2008. We probably have been rising since 2009. But anyways, what's really interesting is what's going to happen to cryptocurrency, because he did make the argument, the reason why he feels the stock market is going to go down is that obviously there's already volatility, and as yields go up, people are not going to leave their money in stocks. They're going to move to safer investments like cash or bonds or whatever. And he does mention cryptocurrency in another interview, which I will share. This one, he doesn't mention it. So in my opinion, I think he's kind of neglecting that, because I do feel like there's going to be a large rush of money into cryptocurrency if the stock market falls. And that could be a catalyst, since we've been talking about the market going over $1 trillion market cap. And by the way, guys, we're about to hit 400 billion, which is nice considering how bearish this last 3 months has been. So it's really interesting. Let's pay attention, see what happens if the stock market continues to go down. Sorry. Will cryptocurrencies go up? And like I said, I'm slowly selling off my stocks and my bonds because interest rates are going up, so bond prices will also fall. And I'm buying more and more crypto. So it'll be really, really interesting to see what will happen, and if the other markets start to tank. Another market I'm worried about is real estate. Does cryptocurrency start to grow even more? Time will tell. Let me know what you guys think, and I will talk to you guys soon.